Welcome. This is the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. This is where you'll learn strategies to help you achieve lifetime financial freedom through real estate investment. Your host, Rod Cleef, has owned over 2,000 homes and apartments, and he brings experts in all aspects of real estate investment and management onto the show. Now, here's your host, Rod Cleef.
Welcome to another edition of How to Build Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing. I'm Rod Cleef, and I am thrilled you're here. And I know you're going to get tremendous value from the two people we're interviewing today. And they're probably the best looking couple I've ever had on my show. We have August Biniaz and Ava Benasaki. And here I am in my black V-neck, and I think August has about a $2,000 jacket on. But anyway, welcome to the show, Well, let me say this. Let me introduce you a little better than that. They are CEOs and co-founders of CPI Capital, cpicapital.com. Is it ca.ca? cpicapital.ca. And they are in Canada, but they invest in the United States. And so I'm going to leave it at that and let them tell you their story. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us, Rod. We're really excited to be here.
You're definitely.
Let's have some fun.
You're a thought leader. We've seen you in this space for a long time, so it's an honor and privilege to be here with you, and hope to add value to your viewers and listeners. Very
kind of you to say that. Thank you. So why don't you, Ava, you start and talk about your journey into this business, and then you guys, however you guys want to take this on. And August, obviously, want to hear from you as well. So if you speak together, however you want to answer that, tell us your story.
Right on. Yeah, a little bit about my background. I was a real estate agent for about 10 years, and I dealt with many investors looking to invest in residential real estate, if you will. And there's a lot of pain points that exist here in Canada when it comes to where to put your money and so forth. So I pivoted my focus to real estate private equity about a year and a half ago, probably now, and co-founded CPI Capital with August.
Nice. Very nice. And you, August?
My background is I was actually a licensed agent as well 16 years ago. I wasn't really good at being a real estate agent, but I was good at finding deals. So I started doing small fix and flips, eventually started my own general contracting company, started building single family homes, more on the luxury side, like this home that I've built right behind us, and eventually moved on to multifamily ground up development. Similar to Ava, I realized pain points that existed for people looking to invest in real estate. There's a lot of content that comes to Canadians from the US in regards to investing in real estate. You always hear, hey, invest in real estate, build your portfolio. Unfortunately, the entry level into real estate investing, it is very high, especially in the large cities here in Vancouver and Toronto. The median home price being approximately 1.3 million and a median income at $90,000. So It's very difficult for people to buy properties. I mean, you hear about people buying properties in Texas, with 100,000 income, $300,000 property. The property rents for $3,000 a month. That's great kind of start in real estate investing. Here, the rent yields are also very low. The rent to value ratios are very low, where there is no surplus left after you do a conventional mortgage from the bank, from the rents collected. So that's what I realized. And a lot of my partners who would partner with me in my ground up development projects, again, the issue was there's no cash flow in ground up development. So I was always looking for a different asset class to invest in. And when I realized about US multifamily value add, fell in love with the concept. The first 6 months was educational, watching many videos, many podcasts such as yourselves as well, and educating ourselves about Canadians looking to invest in the US. How does that work as far as taxes and other issues? So linked up with Ava, started CPI Capital, and the rest is history.
Fantastic. So let's speak to the nuances of, let's enhance what you just described as, the hurdles for Canadians, because I have students in Canada, and they want to invest in the United States, and they typically align with a domestic, US based warrior in my coaching program and work it out that way. But why, besides the the pricing in the big cities being so incredibly expensive. I have to assume it's not that way in the whole country, but are there any other hurdles to investing in Canada? I mean, we have the incredible financing options that we have here through governments, sponsored agencies like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Do you have things like that in Canada, or can you speak to the Canadian nuances of finance? Maybe start with financing, for example.
Sure. Yeah, there is a similar financing items such as Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Is CMHC is what's called here. So insured mortgages, you can get a mortgage for as low as 5% down. But the mortgage laws are much more rigid, and that's why in the 2008 financial crisis, Canada did much better than the U.S. because of those mortgage laws that exist. Now, unfortunately, it's beneficial when there is a financial crisis, but it's difficult when trying to scale a real estate investing business.
Now the CMHC, I'm assuming, is for homeowners, move-ins, correct? Not commercial real estate.
It is
my question was more geared toward commercial.
Yes, it is for commercial as well. As long as you're doing, for example, if you're doing a ground up development and it's for rental, so that goes on the title. That property can never be sold as condos, so is rental. So the CMHC does get involved and give preferred rates as far as development. Okay. But again, it's a different world here, a lot more difficult to scale. It's not as business friendly, much higher taxes, no 1031 exchange in Canada.
There's really strict rent controls here.
Okay, that scraps it for me. Okay, yeah. I didn't know that. Wow, the whole country or is it regional?
The whole country mostly.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Say no more. I won't waste any more time talking about that. I did not know that. You just educated me. I appreciate that. So, you guys left successful careers to get into this. You as a successful realtor, Ava, and August, you as a successful developer. Talk about how did you deal with that? The fear around that? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't there. Maybe it was. But just speak to the drivers that caused you to make these shifts and how you pushed through any fears that you might have had to take that plunge, because it's a big plunge.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first it started with a problem that we seen existed, and we wanted to come up with a solution for that problem. And it really, Rod, started with this excitement that we had for this opportunity that we seen across borders. The thing that really blew my mind, and this is where I was like, you know what, I wanna take a step back from everything and dedicate my life to this, was with multifamily in the US, from the rents you collect, you're able to pay your mortgage, you're able to pay your taxes, all expenses. You're able to pay a third-party property manager and still be left with a surplus. With cap rates here in Vancouver being 1% to 2%, I knew that was gonna blow your mind. I've never seen anything like it. So I fell in love with the business model and the excitement. And then that's where I wanted to pivot my focus, even though I loved what I did for many, many years. And that's kind of, it started with this excitement and seeing a problem and wanting to solve, have a solution for that problem.
Yeah, it was a bit of a roller coaster. It started with excitement, and then there was anxiety because our family and friends, they were shocked that we're leaving our careers. Especially, Ava, myself as a builder for 15 years, Ava as an agent for 10 years. So definitely there was some anxiety. And I hear a consistent story for many who do have, in the US, you guys call it W-2 jobs, who pivot and focus on becoming a full-time active investors. It was similar to us, even though we were involved in real estate, as real estate professionals, but it was still,
it's completely new. I mean, it's completely different, what you shifted to, right? Yeah. Okay.
It's all about putting, of course, a lot of fear that exists, but putting that fear aside and jumping into something that you believe in. And that's what we did.
Love it. What hurdles did you guys face, if any, and how did you overcome them on this transition and maybe on this deal that you guys were telling me about before we started recording? What sort of hurdles did you encounter? And I know I didn't prepare you for any of these, so just do the best you can. Sorry.
No, that's totally fine. Just a fun fact I wanted to share. Sure. As a real estate agent, I was in competition with 23,000 other realtors in Greater Vancouver. Believe it or not, there's only one other company here in Vancouver that does what we do. So that's just a fun fact that I wanted to share. So the hurdles that we faced was educating ourselves, because the laws are much different in Canada than they are in the US. We have the Canadian Securities Commission, you guys have the SEC. Well, there's different rules in every single province across Canada. Also, taxation is a little bit different here.
A lot different here.
So we're buying properties in the US, but we also need to educate ourselves about Canada too. So it was on both sides of the border. So hurdles that we faced was really diving in deep, speaking to lawyers all across Canada, cross-border tax accountants, and really educating ourselves.
Absolutely. And for me, I mean, frankly, the hurdles facing was to, I mean, I call it the poor man mentality, is when, you are so reliant on your income that the fear exists to then try to not only not have that income coming in, but also, have the potential of spending all your life savings into a new venture. But the belief has to be so strong. The mindset has to be it has to be tunnel vision into the goal and what that goal is, that everything else just stays aside and allows you to be laser focused. So that was,
no, that's great. That's huge. So I'm just going to take 30 seconds from this great interview for a quick note from our sponsor, me. Now, if you believe investing in apartment buildings is going to be the vehicle to help you build legacy wealth for yourself and your family, I've got super exciting news. We are finally having another live in-person 3-day boot camp this December 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Orlando. And know this, all of my past events have sold out, and they aren't some big sales pitch like most others. I teach everything you need to know, from building your team to finding deals, to evaluating deals, to financing those deals, to raising all the money you need for those deals, all the way through property management. And we have super successful operators on panels each day to answer all your questions. Now, there'll be billions represented just by the panelists alone. We give you what you need to go crush it in this business. And right now, early bird tickets are, I think, something like $197. That's for 3 days of training. So make a decision that you're no longer going to settle, that you're no longer going to settle for a life less than what you deserve, that you're going to go out there and build lifetime cash flow for yourself and your family. So text Rod in Orlando to 72345 or go to rodinorlando.com. And I promise you'll be glad you came. Again, that's rodinorlando.com or Rod in Orlando. Text that to 72345 and I'll see you soon. One other real quick thing. We still have a few slots available in that exciting 296 unit asset in San Antonio. It's a screaming deal. Now, if you're an accredited investor, you owe it to yourself to check it out. Text the word partner to 72345 or go to creecap.com, creecap.com. Again, to see a presentation we did on that asset and to get on our calendars, if you want to have a quick chat, text partner to 72345 or go to creecap.com. What suggestions would you have for someone starting out in this business, based on, with what you know about this business? What might you tell them?
Well, August and I building this company from the ground up, did we ever learn a lot along the way and what we could have done differently when we first started? My suggestion would be, I'm head of investor relations here. And my suggestion would be, get your sales funnels and your pipeline in place. Before but you learn along the way. So things come up and you want to change out some systems, but get that in place first. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Right. You can look at somebody very successful like yourself that's doing what you do, and you can not be a
emulate.
copycat.
Emulate is the word you're looking for. You don't steal, you just emulate. Some of the best ideas are emulated.
There you go. Yeah. So be okay with that and learn from the people who are super successful like yourself, and just kind of don't reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, for sure. Getting a mentor is very important. I mean, for somebody like myself who was self-made and who got to where I got through blood, sweat, and tears, it takes a lot of humility to go to a mentor. Hey, I've been in real estate for 15 years. What does this person know more than me? Or having that pride is having the humility to get a mentor and be open-minded. Just because you bring on a mentor, it doesn't mean that you're going to take the information they're giving you. You have to have an open mind and go with their advice. It's very important.
You have to be coachable. Yeah, no, I mean, I show this picture of me with hundreds of lanyards around my neck and around my arms from all the different mentors I've had and masterminds and events that I've gone to. And we're learners or earners. So I completely agree. And, I'm really proud, I've just a little mention. I've been teaching for less than 4 years, and my students now own over 45,000 units. And I'm really, really proud of that. My Warrior Mentorship students. And I didn't have mentors when I started, so I made every possible freaking mistake. I used to, in fact, I have this thing at my boot camps where I say, "Ask me how I know." And one of my students got me a shirt that says, "Pound, ask me how I know." Because I say, "Yeah, don't do that. Ask me how I know." It's kind of, anyway, I digress.
I love that you're helping others now because you've made all the mistakes. You're like, don't.
Every possible mistake. Yeah. So when you guys were starting out, were there any epiphanies? Any aha moments that come to mind? Obviously the shift from your core jobs or professions to multifamily was one, but anything else come to mind when I asked that question?
Yeah, for sure. I think it is really, especially with commercial real estate, with these large multifamily institutional asset, is the dollar amount, is the fear that exists for that dollar amount and being involved in a $50 million deal or tens of gazillion $1 million deal is right. The fear that exists. And right away, again, I go back to this poor man mentality where you're like, hey, I can be involved in such a deal. But this commercial real estate game, this multifamily game is a team sport. And there is ways to be involved and participate. So that would be the aha moment where I realized that the mentality of, hey, I can only get involved in deals that I can afford is not real, where you surround yourself with the right team, you surround yourself with the right people, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. You guys have heard me say it ad nauseum on the show. This is a team sport. And, one of the things, like, for example, those 45,000 plus doors were all done between warriors, almost 95% of them, because, people shore up each other's strengths. Like I know in your case, you guys are very personable and you raise equity and further involve yourselves in deals so the communication is one of your superpowers where, someone that's super analytical, that's not a great communicator would pair up with someone like you. And man, that's a match made in heaven. So, it's the same for me. I have a partner that's super analytical and I'm the mouthpiece, as it were. So, so let me ask you this. You talked about mentors. Did you seek out mentors in your journey, August, or you were just making that as a suggestion?
Unsolicited mentors, really. There were mentors who became our mentors without actually the process of going through mentors. But believe it or not, now that we've been in this space for 2 years, and myself now, I've been in the real estate game for well over 16 years. We're still in the process of bringing on hiring mentors and bringing on actual mentors to look at, and in many different aspects, not only overall as far as building a better company, but also on the system sides of it that Ava mentioned earlier, is to have systems, because it's a world of technology these days. Somebody connects with you. If you don't have the right CRM, if you don't have the right task management software. So it's not only bringing mentors as far as, building a better company and having the right mindset and having the right connections, but also bringing on the right people to help you grow your, the portions of the company, for example, right? And yes. Yeah. No, that's absolutely accurate. Is there a resource that you guys have utilized, like maybe a book that you've gifted more than other books to people that are interested in this business? Is there, when people say, how you're in that business, how, what could help me learn the business? Is there any resources that you've gifted to people or suggested to people?
I have 2 different books that I'd like to suggest.
Okay.
Learning about the syndication business is the best ever, from Joe Fairless.
Oh, his book is fantastic. Yeah, that's a great.
And then there's another book that I would highly recommend, and this will be a game changer for anybody, but it's Who Not How by Dan Sullivan.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Who Not How, everybody, because
Yeah, he's
that is
fantastic.
something that you have to delegate. You have to be, it's kind of the art of delegation that will really help you succeed.
Yes, for sure. And for me, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be a book. There's a lot of great books out there, and a lot of content when it comes to books in the space of real estate. I mean, you can just do a simple Google search and tens and tens of books come up, but it shouldn't be analysis paralysis and too much information coming in. Is you have to be strategic in the information you're bringing in, but you have to be student of the game. You have to be consistently hungry to gain more information, but getting the right information, listening to the right podcast. I mean, there is a podcast, there's a self-building podcast that I've over-listened to. It's a 40-minute podcast that I've over-listened to probably, I would say well over 10 times. So it's finding what works with you and what works with your mindset as well, and consistently growing there as well. So not just a particular book, but being the student of the game. Yeah.
That's couldn't agree more. I remember my 9-year-old, this is 20 years ago, I was telling him I was going to a real estate boot camp. At that time, I owned 2,000 houses and multiple apartment complexes. He's like, "Dad, why are you going to learn about real estate? You should teach it." And I had that very conversation with him, that learners are earners and you just keep learning and growing. So let me ask you this. Have you had any early failures that you feel may have contributed to your future success? Anything come to mind when I ask that question?
You want to go first?
Go ahead.
I mean, for me, especially when you're building a company, you're so eager, you're so vulnerable as well, because you're building something new, trying to build something great, and at times bringing in the wrong man for the job it could be a disastrous mistake, especially when there is equity play. Where a portion of the company is being paid out. So I would recommend to your viewers and listeners to be very careful of who they partner with, especially when there goes pen to paper, and that they're giving up equity in the company to bring on a partner. So definitely, there's nothing wrong with bringing someone on as an advisor, as a subcontractor to help you, and then have it in place that they could become part of the company eventually. But to bring someone on right away, and that was a difficulty I had with a contractor, and I'm still paying for it till today. That bringing on the wrong man for the job.
And for me, I'm trying to think of any failures that I can share.
Hey, Ava, let me interject something that ties into what August just said before you, and I want to hear yours. But partnerships are like a marriage. They're easy to get into and hard to get out of. And so I created a resource called Questions to Ask When Forming a Partnership. And guys, if you're listening and you're about to get into a part, it's got like all sorts of you need to ask the hard questions up front before you get in, sorry, using the expression, get into bed with them or get married to them. And so, and so I just used this with my new partner, Scott. We went through this line by line and made sure we were aligned and what would happen in every eventuality. And so if you want this, text the word partnership to 72345, guys. That's partnership to 72345, so that you ask all those questions. Because, you may know I host I'm pretty sure it's the largest multifamily mastermind in the country here. It's called the Multifamily Boardroom. There's like 13, 14 billion in assets in there. And there are a couple big players in there, like 5,000 doors a piece, that just broke up, a male and a female, just broke up very large partnerships. So, really important to ask those questions up front. So now, sorry, Ava, I interrupted you. I just wanted to flag that on August's comment.
No, that's great. I texted the number.
Oh, you did already. Good.
Because that's really important, and that's really great.
Maybe the meeting you missed.
Yeah. I was going to say for failures, for me, it was, I hate telling this story, but I had a meeting scheduled with a superpower of a person. And I had a really bad allergic reaction to the point where I broke out in rash on my face. It was like the most horrific thing.
Anxiety or something.
I canceled the meeting like the night before or something like that. And I canceled it, and I still was not able to get back on a call with this person. So to anybody listening, if you have, and plus, I didn't want to show up. It was a Zoom meeting. I was like a complete mess.
It wasn't that bad, but yeah.
Well, I really wanted to show up, with my strong and with strength. And anyways, I ended up doing that. And I still am not able to get on a call with this person. So that was probably a failure that I learned. But other than failures along the way, just continuous educating. I've just been continuously educating myself so that failures don't occur. It's learning is earning. So as you say, Rod, so.
No question. And we call failures seminars in my environment, okay? Because that's what they are. They're only failures if you don't get back up or you don't get the lesson. So let me ask you this. What do you think is your individual unique skill sets or superpowers that have helped you on this success that you're enjoying?
For me, my superpower is creating relationships with people. Genuine, strong relationships. It's a relationship business. It's really all about relationships. People aren't really, people are investing in you as a person, and it's just nice that's kind of my superpower, I guess. It's taking care of people that way.
For me would be resilience. I'm a boxing aficionado. I've boxed for a long time as an amateur fighter. I had many fights. So, and the world of business is very similar to boxing. You don't play boxing, and you also in the business world you don't play business. It is a tough world out there. And you're in it alone, so it's just like stepping into a boxing ring. So having that resilience, doing your homework, practicing, or however you want to call it, is very important before getting into any deal, especially when it relates to investors or other people that are partnering and relying on you and depending on you. Is very important to be ready for the match you're about to walk into, the real estate project you're about to get in.
Great analogy. So a couple more questions. What did you have to give up on this journey to success? What sacrifices did you make? I don't know if either of you have children, or just speak to that for a moment. Any sacrifices you may have had to make?
The children is a great point. We haven't had children because of our business. Yeah. So that's with our family coming to us and everybody expecting us to have children a while ago. So that's definitely.
I'm going to be having a baby on my hip soon when I'm doing podcasts like this, probably, because
they might not have you on because
we really had to give up time. We've dedicated our lives to this, and which in result, kind of made it so that we couldn't do a lot. Like, we still do activities, but a lot of it's like this go mentality right now as we're building our company.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's the dedication, right? Is dedicating your life to your craft and feeling very strongly about it, especially in this, in the business we're in. We have partners, so it's very important to know everything. People rely on it, like I mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. So
that's what we probably had to give up, is starting a family right away.
Exactly.
Yep. No, got it. All right, last question. We have a lot of listeners that have not taken action in this business, that know they should be doing this. They should do this. They should do that. They end up shooting all over themselves. And so that person that just keeps saying, I should get into this business. I'm not happy being in the rat race. I'm not happy. That person that ends up a year from now, not, and hasn't made a change, and doesn't love where they are right now. What would you say to that person?
I would say just go for it. Partner up with somebody who's smarter than you, who can really kind of guide you along the way, but just go for it, because life goes by way too quick, and another year is going to go by, and another year is going to go by, and just go for it. You'll feel so good about yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ava said it so perfectly. I couldn't even add any more, but it's definitely going for it, and surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you, getting a mentor, getting on a call with someone like Rod. I mean, you're accessible. Someone like you who's been in through a few cycles. I mean, I listened to your story, and your biography is truly incredible of what you've been through. So getting on a call with someone like you, and unlike other businesses, the incredible thing in the space we're in, a lot of people are accessible. A lot of thought leaders are somewhat accessible, such as yourself. So my advice would be getting in touch with thought leaders such as Rod Cleef.
Kind of you to say that. Thank you.
If I could add one more thing to that. Tell your anxiety and fear to F off.
Love it.
Okay?
Love it.
Tell it to
Love it.
go away, because you'd be surprised what superpowers you have within you when you actually jump right into something.
Love it. It's funny when you take action, all that fear mitigates too. Action mitigates fear. Great answers, guys. It's been such a delight to meet you. You're a beautiful couple. Hopefully we'll get to meet in person one day. And appreciate you coming on and adding value. So thank you so much.
We'll take you out for dinner next time we're in Florida.
I'd love that. And I actually plan to come up to Vancouver as well. I need to take my bride up there because I know she'd love it like I did. So thanks again, guys.
Well, we love to entertain. So please, you have friends here in Vancouver.
All right. Love it. Thanks, guys. Awesome. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, please take a minute to visit iTunes and leave your comments. For more resources or to connect with us further, please visit our website at rodcleef.com. Tune in next week for our next show.
Any investment opportunities mentioned on this podcast are limited to accredited investors. Any investments will only be made with proper disclosure and subscription documentation and subject to all applicable laws.